shut up, rub it in. Yeah, I'm just going to tell you don't need a vehicle anymore.
I need it. I have to be able to call.
Oh, okay.
Take a field call.
Nice.
Volleyball.
You got sick?
No. I do now.
Stand until I get to the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will call the September 17th, 2024 meeting of the governing body to order. Do we have any public forum? We must have. Thank you. Larry, you'll have 3 minutes uninterrupted, and you will talk about the cemetery, Sunset Hill.
Yes, I've been up here complaining a lot about the cemetery.
Can you turn that on real quick?
Here?
And it might not be on.
And now I want to come and brag on how good job they did of getting it cleaned up. It really looked good. Thanks to all the city employees that went out there, and I know it was hot, weed eating, all of the tombstones and mowing, and it looks very good out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Move on to approval of the agenda, and I would like to withdraw 5.3 and make it 5A. It won't be a very long discussion. Is there any other additions or deletions?
I make a motion we approve the agenda as presented with the necessary changes.
I'll second it.
So a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Ms. Lance?
Commissioner Newland?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarp?
Aye.
Commissioner Stapp?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Mayor Garrett?
Aye. Move on to the consent agenda. Do we have any motion to approve or continue with the consent agenda?
This is, I guess, a question for Brad. Thatcher could be on the housing authority and none of the commissioners could at one time, or is this?
Well, you were elected, there's a slight difference in terms of how we analyze it, in terms of are you asking if you can be?
Mm-hmm.
So you have an incompatibility of office issue. He's a staff member, so I don't see an issue with him being on, but I still have the same level of commission.
Okay.
I'll note it's a temporary appointment for a month or two until we can find a more long-term candidate.
Do we have any motion or action on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second.
So motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Ms. Lance?
Commissioner Newland?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarp?
Aye.
Commissioner Stapp?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Mayor Garrett?
Aye. There are no proclamations or announcements. Oh, sorry.
5A.
5A is a discussion on a resolution regarding the waiver of cereal malt beverage regulations. The reason I pulled this out of the consent agenda is just for two things. There was some changes that needed to be made from what was presented in the commission packet. The original presentation stated that it would be from the Herington Fairgrounds, and then had a second section where it extended it all the way down to in front of Broadway Station. After quick discussion with the city manager on that, it has been changed to read that the second and third paragraph will read as follows. Such defined area as established and any signage or surrounding security barriers identifying the prescribed area shall be approved in advance by the Herington Police Chief. And then section 3 shall read, the exemption shall be allowed on Saturday, September 21st, 2024 from 10 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., at which time such temporary exemption shall expire. The exemption shall extend to the immediate sidewalk and street near the business at 1 North Broadway Street, Herington, Kansas 67449. no alcoholic beverages shall be allowed on the street or beyond the adjacent sidewalk. Barriers established in the drinking area shall be put in place. There is a question on that specifically, because it's my understanding from their application, they would like to be able to drink the entire block, from sidewalk to sidewalk. So, everything else in the resolution would be presented as it was in the commission packet. There would be some slight modifications, and we could potentially approve it with additional review from staff. So that's for any further discussion or anything else that I missed on that.
So I think we can just strike paragraph 3. We can strike, I guess what would be sentence 3. No alcoholic beverages shall be allowed on the street or be on the adjacent sidewalk. I think we can strike that. We still need barriers, even if it's just signage saying no drinking beyond this point. That's still required by state statute, so.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution in the next sequential order with staff review and authorize the mayor's signature.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Ms. Lorenz?
Commissioner Naylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarp?
No.
Commissioner Stats?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Mayor Garrett?
Aye. Now we'll move on to discussion and action on to certify the 2025 City of Herington budget.
So the intention tonight was to certify our budget at what was presented in the packet. We had a little hiccup there. After reviewing some of the documents we needed to get signed tonight, we went back and took a look at how we passed the R&R, and I had a gut feeling something wasn't right, so I called the attorney at the League of Municipalities, and we had an extensive discussion on it. The long answer and the short answer is that we passed it on August 20th, or we failed the vote on a 2-3 vote on August 20th. And after that vote failed, we thought we could carry the discussion on and carry the public hearing on to the next meeting. It turns out, per state statute, there was an amendment passed this year. We're not allowed to do that. So essentially, after we voted no on it, and if we didn't recast a vote on it that night, the resolution to exceed the revenue neutral rate was essentially dead on that evening. Took us a little while to figure it out. I wish we'd figured it out sooner, but I'm glad we know now, because if we had moved forward and somehow wound up assessing these taxes and been legally challenged on it, we would have had to reimburse all of our citizens. So there's quite a risk if you don't follow the process right, and it's an unfortunate scenario. I wish I had known that night to say, hey, if we don't pass it tonight, it's dead. Unfortunately, at the time, I didn't know that. It's a hard lesson learned for the future, but I'm here to provide some relief tonight. Obviously, we wanted to exceed the revenue neutral rate because there was a lot of things we wanted to do in this budget, and we wanted to take care of our staff and start to look at some of these issues that are costing us a lot of money in the next year. I think we can still do that, but we're going to need to move a little faster on some things. We're going to need to move a little faster on the master fee schedule, on utilities, and make sure we're caught up in these other areas that's costing us in our budget. So we'll get by. It's not going to bankrupt the city. Megan and I are going to work some other scenarios in the next week or two and hope to bring this back on October 1st, a more polished version at 86 and change. I don't know what the exact R&R is. 85.867, so just under 86. And we'll do the best we can. I mean, it won't be easy, but we kind of knew this was coming. We've got a lot of things to look at, and exceeding the R&R was just kind of a temporary fix for what, in my mind, is a longer-term problem. So we'll have to start, no sooner than we're done with this budget, we'll have to start looking to the future and really deciding what's priority for this community. And, I think we heard from a lot of citizens with concerns of taxes being raised so high. So we're going to have to come back next year and really justify what we do, but there's not much more I have beyond that. I wish it could have happened differently, but in the future, the state legislatures, from what I was told, have made it very clear that they want everything to happen on one night. They don't want you to have another public hearing because there's a chance that a citizen might not be there for when you extend that public hearing. So they made it very clear and did so in an amendment earlier this year that stated that in pretty plain terms.
How do we stay on top of it from now on? So, I mean, we failed a couple of years ago, too, getting it right.
So
That was a little different circumstance. In this one, though, I'll take responsibility for as far as I'm concerned in terms of the change in the law. They did that. I made some phone calls after that. I thought this was troubled by this one a bit. The way it read before was a little obtuse, quite frankly, and what we did really didn't read as being incorrect. With this change, though, it wasn't just one city. There were 3 or 4 of the larger cities that were doing the same things. Legislators attended some of those larger city meetings because they're very protective of this process. 2 of them were on the committee. And they made that change, and I look back again, because I'm on, I think, 5 different listservs with the legislature in terms of knowing what they do as it relates to municipalities. Never saw this mentioned anywhere. But I should have stopped this right then and there and gone out and looked, our code books aren't caught up, but I could have looked at it online and seen the session law. And I didn't, because if you think about it, in terms of a budget, we can adjourn and come back if you had, when you instruct, well, I'd like for you to take a look at certain things on your budget and make the determination if there's any more cuts we can make, et cetera, and do it with that. And logically, that night, I just assumed that we have and had historically had to do the 2 years of suspended existence, the ability to do the same thing. They specifically addressed that this time. It's still not worded well, but I don't think I would dare to interpret it as, oh, we can just go ahead. I think the danger of doing that is high, and the risk with it is the county clerk, if we were called on it, and someone very well might, would have no choice but to tell us you're going to pony that back up, and then we have to find a way to refund all that, which is a nightmare for the city clerk and the county as well. So I don't see a way around that issue. The short form answer is on the R&R. Before learn my lesson with this one, before anybody starts doing their budget, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it, and then after July 1, read it again to make sure, because even after this many years, you live and learn. So that was not staff's fault. I think that was mine.
So you have a 30-day period to set a hearing for the R&R and do it, but the legislature has made it clear they want everything done on one day. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. There's a lot of factors that go into it. I mean, there's a little checklist for us, but quite honestly, we might need to build a checklist of our own after what we've learned in the past 2 years, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. I mean,
Okay.
We're not
there's
alone in
10 or
this. This
15
happens
things
with
that can go, yeah. So,
It's just something that we need to, like you said, make a checklist so it doesn't fall again.
I mean, I was reading the statute in the meeting, but it was a statute from 2021 when it was passed. It didn't have the reflected amendment.
You have to pull up the session laws.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when you look at a statute, it doesn't send you a link to any amendments in the statute. So,
I want to say I appreciate staff's review of that, and I appreciate their acceptance, but I think I'm just as much as guilty as you guys are, because I think I pushed to have that matter continued anyway. So I will accept that responsibility as well. So.
The other editorial comment I'd make, just for future reference, because everybody around here, not everyone's been through it too many times. You can go ahead and pass one like that, even though you may have a sense that, I really don't know that we want to do it. All it does, it doesn't commit you to going at that level. You're still going to pass your budget, and you can artificially take it back. Well, what would the R&R have been? And go ahead and make the motion that this is what it's going to be, and we'll make that work. All that does is gives you latitude and flexibility to do your budget if you do it later, to be able to go higher. It doesn't mandate that you do so.
I'll say, I mean, there's enough accountability to go around for everyone. It doesn't really matter. We're all on the same team. I think next year we really got to work this thing backwards. I think we got to start in May and say, are we comfortable exceeding? We know we're going to probably have to exceed next year. We probably know we're going to have to exceed every year unless there's a dramatic change. So we should really start backwards next year and really start the budget process knowing, okay, are we comfortable by exceeding? Are we going to be comfortable by exceeding at the end of the year by 5 mils? And if we only need to exceed by 3, great. But we should really, I think it would help staff to establish that much earlier on, because past 2 years we've gotten to the end of the process and there's been some difficulty deciding what we want to do. And maybe that's inevitable, but I think if we have a better idea at the beginning to know where we're at, we'll be a lot better off. So that's the only thing I could recommend to the governing body to help us out next year is let's start this process earlier and let's figure out what we're going to be comfortable with much earlier on. So
my understanding is we have to have the budget certified and submitted to the county clerk on October 1st. So we would have to have a special meeting before October 1st, latest September 30th. So it would have to be a special meeting, unless we are going.
We have a special meeting a week from today. It'd be a tight turnaround. There's not going to be a lot of probably back and forth on, how we get to where we want to get. But
You really don't have a choice now.
I don't really have a choice now.
We've got to cut about almost 100,000 out of what we thought we were going to be able to certify. Is that about right, roughly? And
Anywhere from 80 to 100.
and for some consumption, I have had 2 meetings with Megan since the last meeting, going over the budget and looking at some things. And she was able to get it back down to 93 and some change. So, but now we've got some more that she's going to have to figure out, finagle and cut down to. So, good news for the taxpayers, bad news for us, but I think we're going to have to figure it all out.
It's really not any good for the taxpayers. They still got to get something done with the city.
So we're going to have to find a way to make something work. So when do we want to have, do we want to go on the 24th, or do we want to give them absolutely until the last minute? We need to decide when we're going to have a special hearing on, or special meeting on the budget.
I say as soon as you guys think we can get to it. You work at home now. You work at home now.
We'll probably include it on the agenda for next week, and if we're ready to go, then we're ready to go. And if we got to schedule another meeting come next Tuesday, I mean, we got to have most everybody here, at least 3 people next Tuesday for the RHID. So, okay. We got to have 4 people here next week, and then if we don't get everything out, we can schedule something else. But
Okay, so September 24th, we should expect to have a further discussion and potentially certify the budget that night. So I guess you guys have another week if you want to go in and ask Megan and sit down with her. And she was polite and kind at least the 2 times that I was in her office. So I would encourage you, if you want to go ask more questions, now's your opportunity. Is there anything else regarding the 2025 budget? City staff need anything else or any other further direction from the commission before we move on?
I don't think so.
Sure. We'll move on to agenda item 8, is consider appointing primary and alternate voting delegates to the 2024 league conference. So I am not entirely sure if I'm going to be attending. I know Commissioner Naylor is going to be attending.
Yes, I will be attending.
I think Mr. Motti is going to maybe make his best abilities to attend.
I'll be there Thursday and Friday at least. I don't know when the vote is. So
I can't remember if the vote is Friday or Saturday. I think it's Saturday, but
yeah.
so basically, if no other commissioner is going, I think I can make it an easy appointment for the primary and appoint Commissioner Naylor as the primary. At least that would be a 9 nomination. Is there a second on the nomination?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second to nominate Commissioner Naylor as primary. Is there further discussion? Ms. Lorenz?
Commissioner Naylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarf,
Aye.
Commissioner Stapp?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Mayor Garrett?
Aye. Now we need to, if Thatcher's gonna go, he can be the alternate. If you're gonna be there all 3 days, he shouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
The
I'll be
voting
all there all 3
responsibilities be with the primary. So. I'll make a motion to appoint city manager Thatcher Motti as the alternate vote.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Ms. Lawrence?
Commissioner Naylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Scarf?
Aye.
Commissioner Stapp?
Aye.
Commissioner Bell? Mayor Garrett?
Aye. Megan, are you gonna be able to send that notification over to the league? All right, thank you.
Yeah, they sent me an email the other day.
Nothing else, we'll go on to agenda item 9, is consider automatic aid agreement between the Herington Fire Department and Dickinson County Fire District Number 2. Chief? So do we have mutual aid with District 2 already?
Yes.
Okay.
So what this is doing is, and you guys will probably get more of these from me, on the dispatch, it'll automatic. So if we get called for a structure fire, they'll tone District 2 fire the same time they tone us. If they get a fire, same thing. It speeds up the process. It stops us from delaying a couple minutes by the time we get the truck, get on the radio. It also helps with our ISO rating. So one of the areas we lost points is lack of automatic aid agreements. So that'll help boost some ISO points when we go through our next revision, which will probably be coming up in the next 2 years. We'll probably do for it. So you'll see more of these coming with some other departments as well. It's growing in the county, and I think it's a good thing. So we also added in for grass fires, with the rate of fires, how dry it is, fuel load, very high fire danger and above. It's automatic aid for grass fires. So we're more and more towards the mindset of send a lot of resources and cancel what you don't need, rather than waiting and you never get caught up. Once you're behind, you're behind.
So with the automatic aid and the prior agreement section of this that it supersedes previous agreements, the mutual aid is basically,
Well,
how does
you
that?
still have mutual aid
Okay.
because this is just for structure fires and grass fires on very high and above. So if it's a moderate fire day and they need more grass trucks, then they'll use the mutual aid and then request us. Or if they have a gas leak and they need assistance, or calls other than structure fires and very high fire danger days.
Didn't you run out of personnel to go in buildings on the last structure fire?
So, yeah, and we had plenty of personnel there. The problem we're having is, and I don't mean bad to any other departments, there's a lack of SCBA qualified firefighters in the region. It's not unique. Herington, we're good with Herington Fire Department. We have plenty of guys, but after 2 bottles, when guys are hitting their 3rd and 4th bottle, and it's 90% humidity at 3 o'clock in the morning, it takes a lot out of them. So that second wave of firefighters coming in that are SCBA qualified, we had a lot of guys there from mutual aid, but I only got 4 more SCBA qualified guys from all the departments that came. I had the same conversation with Council Grove last week at the Morris County Fire Chiefs meeting, that they're not getting the mutual aid that they need because of lack of SCBA qualified. Abilene is seeing the same thing up in that end of the county, where they're starting to go to enterprise for guys. So they're reaching further out. We're starting to reach further out. A lot of departments are, because they just don't have the qualified guys or the younger members. Guys in their 50s, 60s aren't putting air packs on and going interior on fires. So,
Do you guys have like a rehab tube policy set up?
yes.
And you were talking about multiple bottles, and I know that's something big years ago where.
Yeah, and I think you see it come around even bigger, where we're starting to push it more. But the problem is also that when it's still burning and you're still able to salvage a lot, either I take all the guys out on 2 bottles and say, hey, go sit in that chair for 15 minutes and it's going to burn.
Yeah.
Or the guys put the work in and bust their hump on their 3rd bottle, making a stop and protecting property, and so it's we're not unique in Herington, that we're reaching out further for mutual aid, and we're gonna be going further for mutual aid because of it. So,
Brad, have you had the opportunity to review this and everything's fine?
I'd like to make a motion, we approve said automatic aid agreement with Dixon County Fire District Number 2.
I'll second.
So motion and a second to approve this automatic aid agreement. Is there any further discussion?
Do you need your signature?
Yes.
Amend your motion to approve the mayor's signature
Sure, with mayor's signature.
and second
I.e.
amended.
I'll second amended.
That's all I
Is there any further discussion? Ms. Lawrence?
Commissioner Naylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarf,
Aye.
Commissioner Stack,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Mayor Garris.
Aye.
thank you.
Thanks, Benny.
Don't go anywhere, chief. Your signature's required on this.
No.
I can always get him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hey, yours. Alright. We'll consider a purchase agreement for the 0 block of North 3rd Street by the Spot and Dining Car.
So this is the same agreement with changes proposed by Brad, right of first refusal. I'll let Brad explain what he did with that.
We've discussed the fact that if this is approved and it's transferred, we didn't necessarily want it to be handed off to someone else, whether it's a simple transfer or a sale, without the city having the opportunity to intervene and reacquire it if needed. So what I did was incorporate as an exhibit, because it's kind of a long document in and of itself, a right of first refusal and purchase. It sets out the general approach and standards. You don't have to exercise it. Right now, the acquisition would be as approved by an LLC. If that LLC ceased to exist or it didn't move into a successor that was similar in scope and business practice, et cetera, you have the right to, we really don't want someone completely different to own it. We don't want it to just go into some form of default or into another form of private ownership that we don't control or at least have the ability to review before it occurs. This gives you that power and puts it in place. Now, the way I have done this, and I was mentioning that earlier, either or, it's just a simple transfer by agreement of the parties for $1, or if they're like, no, it's worth twice what it was back then, and I've done something to it, so then we would use the typical approach we would in an eminent domain or condemnation proceeding, where you're going to get pre-appraisers and get a fair appraisal on it. That second paragraph can be changed completely to say, no, all we'll ever pay is what you paid us. If you prefer that, then you want to approve this subject to that review, and I just make that what amounts to a 1-paragraph, 2-sentence change, because I've got that language available as well. I just opted for this between the two choices, and if you prefer no, if you're going to sell it to them in this fashion, we want it back. They wouldn't be enriched. We would give them what they paid for it back, just give the money back, no interest, et cetera, in that regard. So that's up to you, but that's the purpose of that additional section that's been incorporated by reference into the real estate contract.
Can I give you a what if?
Sure.
Just to throw it out there. Let's say changes hands, somebody buys it, we're all gone, and we need to reacquire that property with the original contract that we make with said owners now. Is that a binding agreement where?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, what would happen is the first time it changes hands, and and we're going to use that general definition. You're going to they're required basically to say, hey, you've got a right of first refusal. If I ignore that and sell it to someone else, you can completely void that transaction and come in and take the property, consistent with this agreement. So the first time it ever happens, if you waive it, you can go ahead and say, we'll renew that, and we wish for that to run with the property, and that's the only way we'll waive our requirement is that it now passes to the second person. That's how we typically do that.
Sounds good.
So on the one that's presented, we probably need to change the closing date from September 6th to a date just after today.
I didn't change it because that was originally drafted and you'd seen it. I just incorporated all this new information into it as we had discussed potentially. I would suggest, yes, you want to do that. And it does, again, you can always close sooner. You just wanna kind of try to use a date that we're not gonna go past that unless it's by agreement. So like you put October 15th or whatever you prefer to have in there, give yourself ample time to get it done.
I think October 15th would be enough time for closing.
I would go the end of October if it were me, because this, you know, the closing agent depends on how inundated they are, because they can take 2 to 3 weeks sometimes to get everything ready to go, do the final O&E policy and then the title insurance, et cetera. So at least go to there.
Have you
Okay.
talked to the buyer about this first purchase amendment?
Not recently, but he basically said he was fine with anything. I haven't had a chance to show him this yet, so obviously he'll have to be agreeable to it also. But I don't foresee any problems, so.
This will also be set for the mayor's signature just for consumption too. So, I think leaving it as it was presented with the exception of the closing date is enough. I mean, I don't mind saying come back and, you know, we'll give it to you for $1 or we'll go ahead and we'll get the appraisals.
I agree.
So, I'll make a motion to approve the contract for sale for real estate, including the first right of refusal and option to purchase real estate as presented, with the exception of changing the closing date to October 31st, 2024, and authorize the mayor's signature.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Ms. Lorenz?
Commissioner Naylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarf,
Aye.
Commissioner Staff,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Mayor Pierce.
Aye. All right, consider the KAIP agreement with the Kansas Department of Transportation. Mr. Motti?
So for everybody new here, I came to the commission about a year ago, and we had about $500,000 in grant funding from the FAA for a new runway lighting system. That's including the runway, identifier lights, precision approach path indicators, and edge lighting along the runway at the airport. So it was a project kind of in limbo, and the FAA said, hey, you still want to do this? And we said yes. At the time, we thought it could be anywhere up to a $350,000 match, which obviously would have been quite a large hit. But we acquired a grant for KDOT and in the amount of $170,000. And then with everything else, the bids coming in and everything like that, I don't know the exact number of where we're at, but we'll basically be only around $70,000 out of pocket on this project. So it's pretty much a no-brainer because it's going to completely modernize our lighting system at the airport, and it's going to be pretty dang close to I think around a $750,000 project by the time it's all said and done. So this is just a grant agreement with KDOT saying we're accepting the grant, and basically we can just authorize my signature. I've been able to handle all the other documents up to this point, but since this was a formal agreement, I opted to bring it before the commission this evening.
Questions? Is there any motion on action?
I make the motion we go in agreement with KAIP agreement, Kansas Department of Transportation, the Herington Airport runway lighting project, and authorize city manager's signature.
I'll second.
So motion and a second for further discussion. Ms. Lawrence?
Commissioner Naylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarf,
Aye.
Commissioner Staff,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell,
Aye.
Mayor Pierce.
Aye. I think we're going to need at least 30 minutes. So I'll make a motion The Herington City Commission recessed into executive session pursuant to the Personnel Matters of Non-Elected Personnel Exception KSA 75-4319B1 in order to discuss personnel matters to include the following: the governing body, with the option to call the city manager and the option to call the city attorney. The open meeting to resume in the commission meeting room at 7:05 p.m.
Second.
So motion and a second. Is there discussion? Ms. Lorenz?
Commissioner Naylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Scarf,
Aye.
Commissioner Stack,
Aye.
Commissioner Bell, Mayor Garrett.
Aye. We'll be in recess.
Just want to remind everyone of the meeting a week from today at 6 o'clock p.m. Again, we need at least 3 there. If you can make it by phone, let me know. We just got to host a public hearing and then get this ordinance passed to wrap up the RHID stuff. Once that's done, we're pretty much good to go. There's a 30-day petition period on that from the county and the school district, and so they do have some time, but they've already been notified plenty in advance, had time to give any questions or concerns. Currently, everything's still with the title company. Hoping to get them wrapped up here in the next week. And the builder's pulled a permit, I think, already, or got his license, I should say. So he's getting ready to go, and hopefully we can see some new homes out there in the next month or so. Cemetery's been mowed. Encourage folks to let us know when they think things are getting bad. We can't catch everything, so I always like to encourage folks to go to the website and file a work order. It's a good way to hold us accountable. If you tell me, I try to remember, or you tell one of my employees, they'll try to remember, but the best way to do that is to file a service request on the website, and we're trying to check those more frequently. So we're continuing to help out with the pocket park, hoping to get the water fountain installed there in the next few weeks, along with some sun shading. Pool grate installment is underway. I sent a picture of that to the commission. Happen to make a few tweaks here and there as we go, but should have that wrapped up in the next few weeks. After that, the water distribution department is going to move on to starting to tackle the riprap project around Father P. We're looking at starting to begin the trail cleanup here in October once we're concluded with mowing season and we're back to fully staffed in our street department. We'll be helping out with mowing out at the Disc Lake Golf Course this week, as they're going to have some designers out there taking a look. We submitted a grant for the water projects for the raw water line, so hoping we have some luck with that this time around. That's all I have.
Commissioner comments? Commissioner State?
Nothing.
Commissioner Taylor?
None?
Stark?
No comment.
Ralph?
Could you touch base about the meeting we had with the insurance, just quickly?
Yeah, so we held a meeting with a different insurance company just to see what the other options are out there. We're a long ways from committing to anything else, but we're certainly going to seek out some other options, and then we're going to hear from our current agency, Blue Cross, in the next month or so to see what our options are. And if our only option is a 15 or 20% increase a year, we might have to start looking elsewhere, but that's going to be a big project we're going to have to tackle this winter, is looking at our health insurance costs. And again, we're not the only city that's going to have to be looking at it. We're just probably one of the first. So I think there's some good options there. We were presented a pretty good presentation on a different options, so we're certainly going to take a look at that here this winter and see if we can save some money in the future. So.
Just to touch quick on the meeting next week, can you make sure also on the agenda is discussion and action regarding the 2025 budget?
Yes.
And if you guys aren't prepared, then we can take it up at another special meeting after that. Other than that, don't have anything else. Anything else for the community?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Lawrence?
Commissioner Naylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Stark?
Aye.
Commissioner Stapp?
Aye.